All right, what's up, y'all? How y'all doing out there? I am Frank Red, and once again, you are locked tight in the dungeon. And I want to thank y'all for joining me off the rip. I really appreciate it. Um, Looking forward to tonight's show because it's gonna be a little different. Yeah, we're gonna talk about sports, but one of the reasons why um, I wanted to get into sports talk radio and just cover sports in general 20 years ago is really the intersection about sports and life. That's what's most interesting to me. I can give you the scores. We can debate about who should be starting, who should win Rookie of the Year, whether or not a player should make X or Y. That stuff is fun. But what's most fun and what's most important to me is the intersection between sports and life. And something happened last couple of days that is ripe for that type of discussion. I got a lot to talk about tonight, and I probably won't get to all of it, which is cool because there's more in the dungeon shows to come. This is episode 96. I'm looking forward to all of the shows, but certainly episode 100 will be a special occasion because when I started doing this, as opposed to just kind of guesting on other people's shows, the idea of doing 100 shows was like, wow, 100 shows? But we're getting close to 100 shows. It is amazing. I still have the same energy, the same passion that I had 20 years ago. It's so much fun to do what I do. And I want to thank everybody out there for taking your time, taking your brains and locking in to my ideas and also sharing yours as well. It's been a slow ride, but the numbers and the interest in the program is definitely rising. That would not happen if it was not for you. I do a terrible job marketing. I've admitted that. And that's okay because I'm going to focus on content. And over a period of time, we'll get to where we want to get to. All right? Now, over the past couple of days, I've been watching a lot of podcasts so I can juxtapose various opinions versus my own opinion on the topic that I'm going to introduce. A couple of days ago, a legend in the game, in the sports talk, media, business, if you will, Skip Bayless informed his listeners that he was going to be leaving Fox S1. And I really wasn't surprised by it, to be quite honest with you. For those who know Skip Bayless, legendary sports talk show host, before he got on radio and television, a noted author, bestseller, columnist. This dude's a straight up lifer. He's over 70 years old, still going strong, still doing his thing, as sharp as a nail. And he created a foundation and a path for many others to eat off, to walk down, to take chances to create their own iteration of sports talk, be it television, be it radio. I like the anonymity of radio, to be quite honest with you. And getting comfortable seeing this face, this dome on screen took some time for me. I'm still not totally comfortable with it, but I get it. I do understand the game. There's no makeup. There's no prepping. A lot of times I take a shower. I love to take a shower before I come on air. That's a little inside information, maybe too much. But a lot of people had various opinions on Skip Bayless. Some people were like, he got what he deserved. I can't stand this guy. It was only a matter of time. And they're dancing. They're dancing on his, proverbial grave, if you will. Because as somebody who was as good as he was at communicating, at talking about sports, about getting under the skin of people to the extent where you go, I can't stand this guy, but I'm going to listen to 2-3 hours of his shows, watch his podcast, do all this stuff. That's the gig. That is the gig. Right? But you got to see the big picture. If you don't see the big picture, you might not see that. Was the guy perfect? No, he wasn't perfect. Did he go too far? He often did go too far because he got personal. Sports are not personal. To me, that's my way of doing things. The one thing that I realized, and this is like from playing sports a lot of years and playing against some of the best players in the world. You might go, Red, whatever, dude. Listen, man. I played against the best players in the world. I was never one of the best players in the world. But I know what it feels like to be on the court with Chris Mullin, with Michael Jordan, with Mark Jackson. I played against Jason. I played against all these players. And I felt very comfortable. Right? So I have the utmost respect for athletes. People in general, I don't care who it is, I have respect for you. Skip Bayless didn't always project that persona. And I don't think he always did. Because for a long period of time, this industry really wasn't about the players. Yeah, we'll sprinkle in an athlete to get a 2 or 3 minute take, but to have them pontificate about what's happening? No, we got this. I'm the writer, I'm the journalist. I went to this school and graduated, okay. And society allowed that to happen. I don't know why it looks like I got kind of foggy. I don't know why. For a long period of time, society allowed that to happen. Let me try to see if the thing goes away, man. Because I'm on a roll. Hold on, let me leave for a second. Why is this like this? I don't know. All right. Apologize. But anyway. Society allowed this distinction between traditional media and athletes to kind of happen and coexist. Nobody really had a problem with it. Where athletes were made to be subservient to the non-athletic hosts oftentimes, and nobody really cared. Maybe the athletes themselves didn't feel as comfortable in that arena because maybe they didn't have the experience. They were lucky to be on television, lucky to be on radio. It's hard to get jobs. At some point, and I think it started with the hip hop generation, those days are long gone. Athletes are proving that I can not only tell you about the game, I can host shows, I can build theses, I can do it better than you. That was a scary proposition for a lot of people. And I think Skip Bayless has always been really, really good at what he did. He didn't have to be concerned if somebody was stepping on his turf. But I think he was. And at some point, when Shannon Sharpe went to Undisputed, it got to the point where Skip felt comfortable, and we call this in hip hop, trying to sun him. And Shannon Sharpe was like, wait a minute. I'm smart. I'm a Hall of Famer. I've been on several networks. I'm not going to take this crap from you. You're not going to disrespect me. You're not going to sun me. You're not going to dehumanize me. I could mention some names of athletes that have kind of had to deal with that, but I'm not going to do that. You've seen it before, and I've seen it before. So Shannon left. Salute to him. Skip very quickly, I'm sure, was like, oh shit, what did I do? What's going on? The guy who Skip has helped more than anybody is Stephen A. Smith. His brother. Those dudes are brothers, man. You can't tell me they're not brothers. Stephen A. Smith, I'm not going to compare Stephen A. Smith to Ralph Wiley. I know a lot of y'all are too young to know who Ralph Wiley is. Some of you are not. Ralph Wiley, to me, is the best black sports broadcaster I've ever seen. He's like the Jim Brown of sports journalism. You're like, who? No, Ralph Wiley. If you got into, and Ralph Wiley, I don't know if he played sports or not. He actually wrote, I believe, for the Oakland Tribune at some point in his career. But when I was a little kid, he was on NBC. And he used to talk to Bob Costas a lot. And they would go back and forth. And if you got into a debate with Ralph Wiley, you need to know your stuff, or he was going to embarrass you. Everybody knew it. He had the swag of Obama, the brain of PhD. He was awesome. I'm a little kid, and yet I could look at him and go, wow, that brother's smart. He has it going on. Now, I'm not comparing Stephen A. Smith to Ralph Wiley. What I'm saying is Stephen A. Smith is the most prominent, I'm going to say sports personality. I'm not going to say journalist. I'm going to say sports personality, power broker of his era. A lot of people might not want to give it up to him. You don't believe it, he is. But guess what? None of it would have happened if it wasn't for two people. First one is Allen Iverson. And Stephen A. mentions it all the time. Because when he was working for the Philadelphia Inquirer, Allen Iverson used to give him information. It made him cool. Now, none of that would have worked if Stephen A. didn't work his tail off, which he did. I watched Stephen A. work. Stephen A. worked his tail off as a beat writer, as a columnist, as a journalist. I've met him several times. Dude is not a joke. The next person that we know about is Skip Bayless. Stephen A. Smith got fired from ESPN. Like Skip got fired from Fox, Stephen A. got fired from ESPN. And when they wanted to do this little morning show, First Take, it was Skip Bayless who brought Stephen A. in. The rest is history. I mean, you're talking about Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis, Sammy Davis Jr. and Frank Sinatra. Say what you want. I mean, they set their standard. And what happened when Skip left, because he got that bag, everybody thought First Take was going to suffer. It didn't. I didn't even know it was going to be as successful, because it got a little, and then all of a sudden, Stephen A. took it to a whole nother level. Stephen A. has been more responsible for people of color and women getting gigs than anybody on television in that arena. Blacks, people of color, cool people of all ethnicities. Stephen A. has created that foundation for people to eat and have careers and do their own thing. It would not have happened without Skip Bayless, because Skip Bayless gave him the opportunity that he needed to get his party started. I mention this because when Skip Bayless disrespected Shannon, he probably had no idea that Shannon was going to go to ESPN with the help of Stephen A. and blow up 10 times more than he was on Fox. People can criticize ESPN, but here's what ESPN knows how to do. They understand lighting. They understand how to build and produce shows. And they gave Stephen A. the reign to be the personality that he is. Stephen A. encouraged Shannon Sharpe to be who he is, like CBS didn't do, like Skip didn't allow him to do. And he already had Club Shay Shay. But when Cat Williams went on that show and blew that thing up, it was over. Shannon Sharpe was a certified star. Now, when Shannon said that he was leaving Fox, even with Club Shay Shay doing okay, if he went away and people didn't have to see him every week on ESPN looking good, having takes, smiling, getting extensions, Skip would have been okay. Because the anger that people of color had for Skip, I believe would have started to wane a little bit, because he would bring people on. But the fact that Stephen A. gave Shannon Sharpe a life raft and an opportunity to really manifest his true essence, Skip was done. Because Fox doesn't know how to, they don't get lighting. Their shows are dark. The infrastructure is not as glamorous as ESPN. So what's happened to Skip is happening because he did it to himself. That's my point. The irony is the guy who he helped more than anybody blow up. And I want Stephen A. to sign this contract. If Stephen A. wants $25 million, I want him to get $25 million. Because I think he deserves it. And I also know that everybody has an expiration date. Stephen A's even said it. If you don't know it, then you're delusional. At some point, unless you own the company, your boss is going to tell you, you know what? You don't have to come in tomorrow. It happened to me. What happened to me when I was on vacation? And they told my producer, they said, if you tell Red, we're going to fire you too. I was number one for 10 years. Number one Won. For 10 years, 10 straight years. As a black man, it's hard working in this business. You think a lot of people call me to like, yeah, why don't you come guest, do this? No. People generally don't want to help you blow up more than them. And even if it's not true, I don't think it's true, but the perception sometimes is what I think stops people from helping each other, unless you so confident in what you do. Skip Bayless, Stephen A. I'm already killing it over here. Yeah, I'll help you out. Come on, B. I love you. Most people are not like that, particularly like in local media. So you gotta find other things to make you happy beyond the one thing that you love. You gotta love multiple things. I have several things that I love that I'm actually good at, that pique my interest. I'm actually a coach. I love coaching. I see the game on a very high level. One of the few. I played college football, college basketball. I'm an expert at golf. I played lacrosse. I played bass. I played damn everything. So I can talk about everything. Now, I hope that Skip Bayless comes back in some iteration. Even age doesn't even matter. This guy looks great. He probably has the hair dye flowing. He works out. Come on back. But that trolling Skip Bayless, that Skip Bayless that thinks that he can sun people, he can't sun anybody. But he definitely can't sun a black man on television or a black woman on television, a person of color on TV, when 80 to 90% of the commentary about sports is about people of color. Come on, man. This is 2024. You can't do that. Can't do that anymore. Skip should have knew better. His producer or whomever should have been like, yo, dude, you're talking to a Hall of Famer across you who often talks about his come up game and how tough it was and how hard it was to even eat every day. I love listening to Shannon talk about his upbringing because I can relate to it in a lot of ways. To see his ascension, it's amazing. He talks about if he was going to have another career, he would be a lawyer. That's a mighty goal. His brother Sterling is a very proud and successful person. So Skip made a bad decision at the wrong time, and because of a couple of events, Cat Williams just took him to the stratosphere, and Stephen A. gave him the highway to drive his Cadillac down the street, park it, set up shop, and do his thing. And now he's rolling. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens to Skip Bayless. That old Skip can't exist anymore. I was thinking before I came on air, I was like, it works in wrestling. How many times have we seen wrestlers be villains and then flip the script and they're nice guys? No one's ever doubted Skip Bayless's knowledge about sports. He's funny. So I want to see him come back. For people who are like, I'm going to stomp on this guy now. And we got our podcast. We can kind of do what we want to do and all this stuff. Yeah, you can do whatever you want to do. But let me say this though. Whatever lane you decide that you want to walk down, that's the lane that you're going to have to always take. When you make sure that whatever you do is based in intelligence, right? Facts and logic, you can do anything. And I watch a lot of podcasts. For those people who might be people of color, might not be, but for those who get that, and a lot of my athletes, they're going to the stratosphere. Networks are scared, you know what? Because for so long, they told athletes that, you know what? You're not smart enough. You don't have the capital. No, we don't want to invest in what you're doing. You know, you do a podcast, a show, highly produced. No. We're going to go get somebody else. So this generation and people now realize that that's a bunch of BS. They got the money. They understand that if we're going to do it well, it has to be smart. And they're rocking and rolling. But it has to be based in intelligence. Otherwise, you're going to live in a certain space. That's it. You know the shows that have the potential to blow up, and you know the ones that kind of, all right, I'll watch it because it's funny or whatever the case. But I'll take any advertising. I don't have any. So I'm not going to differentiate who's advertising what. But I do watch that stuff. You look at a guy, a former athlete like a Ryan Clark, who kind of jumped in and kind of took over the pivot or be the leading guy of the pivot. Those dudes are going to the stratosphere. Channing Crowder, running back from Florida, Jacksonville, Fred. Love that show. And guess what? They got big money behind them. Why? Because the show's respectful, it's polished, and it's smart, and it's funny, and it's entertaining. That's where I want to live. Carmelo Anthony, I mentioned it before. Excellent podcast. Podcast P, there's a lot of them. But it all started because as opposed to like hating on Stephen A and talking about how horrible he is when he never was. Has he made mistakes? Hell yeah, he made mistakes. Do I agree with everything? No, I don't. But I understand the game. And I wanted to talk about everything that's happening now. I don't believe would have happened if Skip Bayless had not given Stephen A the opportunity to do his thing. And then Stephen A gave Shannon Sharpe the opportunity, and so on and so forth. And where it's going to go, I don't know. But I am so excited about people having opportunities. And for people not to acknowledge that Skip is a part of this renaissance, and like he don't matter, is looking through the picture through a very small lens. And I'm saying you can do it if you want to, but look at the big picture. I'm happy that he existed. I would have been like Shannon Sharpe, you're not going to sun me. You know what I'm saying? Nobody's going to sun me because I'm the product of a teenage mother who I grew up on welfare. My mother worked 2 jobs. I got multiple degrees. Are you kidding me? Nobody's going to sun me. I'm very comfortable who I am. And I believe that Skip Bayless felt, because I've created these opportunities and brought you on, at the end of the day, if I want to sun you and demean you because I'm Skip Bayless, I can do that. You can't do that anymore. You cannot do that anymore. And for anybody who thinks that education does not matter, and education doesn't always mean you got to get a formal education in a classroom. No, but you need to be a lifelong learner if you're going to talk to everybody, if you're going to resonate, if you're going to speak with intelligence and not with emotion, you got to educate yourself. So, I was ambivalent about Skip Bayless not going back to Fox. That dude has made millions and gazillions of dollars. He'll be fine. But if he wants to do this, hopefully there's an opportunity there for him because of what he has done for the industry and, more importantly, for people of color. He's played a role in that process. He really has. He really has. There's a lot of different lanes out there. But it started with one lane, and then a highway got built. Skip Bayless is the part of building that highway. And guess what? Stephen A has taken all the cement and all of the dump trucks and everything you need to build more highways. You know, they're going to write about this guy. How many people who do talk sports on television are on television shows? People doing caricatures of them. Bringing your sister on national television, to get her game together. Come on now. Raising money for SBCUs. Give the man respect. I mean, when somebody try to hate on him who is like a national figure, I just laugh because it's hate, jealousy. See the big picture. See the big picture. So, hopefully Fox will continue to give people opportunities that would have not had those opportunities in the past. I have a lot of passions. Talking sports, communicating is a passion of mine, but so is coaching and scouting. I'm really good at it. But the sunning process can happen anywhere. And I've seen coaches, people in general, be disrespected by, pretty normal people. I would never put myself in that situation. Never, ever. So I'm probably never going to reach that level of success or whatever. I mean, and I'm good with that because my integrity, my humanity will never be disrespected by anybody. Not for something that's monetary. And it doesn't have to be. Sometimes there's people who generally want to help you. I just haven't found that person yet. I'm glad that Skip Bayless helped Stephen A. be the great influence that he's been on this industry, and particularly for Black people and people of color getting opportunities, and people who just see the big picture. Stephen A's done a lot for Dan Orlovsky's career. Tremendous. Mad Dog, I love Mad Dog, but Mad Dog has his own damn channel on Sirius. But everybody looks forward to Mad Dog on ESPN on Wednesday morning because he's going to do his Mad Dog thing. Nobody did that before Stephen A brought him on. It's a hit. There you go. Hopefully you guys found that 35-minute segment that I just did worth your time. You want to comment on it, feel free. Let me acknowledge some people out here before I move on to the next topics. SG says, hi, Frank. And he wants to know thoughts on USA getting put my glasses on. Thoughts on USA getting a 105-79 win over Serbia. Stephen Curry was absolutely on fire, 24 points and rebounds, 6 3-pointers. Okay, I'll get to that. I talked about Skip Bayless, Steve-O. Sharp had Shay double down with Nightcap. Yeah, I forgot about that. Nightcap is crushing it too. Skip throwing Dak jerseys in trash can only see so many times. Wow, I didn't even see that. I don't really watch the show, but that's the type of stuff that he can't do anymore. Sharp will give Skip his flowers. I don't have to. Haven't watched ESPN in 20 years. Debate style old. I like Around the Horn. I dig that. I like Pardon the Interruption more than Around the Horn. But if Around the Horn is on, I don't turn it off. He pulled Paul Pierce and Key back. Curious about those guys. Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see what happens to those guys. Will they have some type of new iteration of that morning show? Nick Wright's already a star over there. And, I mean, Nick Wright is kind of funny. I don't always agree with him, but he's kind of funny. He's funny in his commentary. I don't think he takes himself that serious. He kind of has a worldview that I like, and we'll see what happens. But that's my whole take on the Skip Bayless thing. Love to hear your thoughts. You can agree, you can disagree, but I will never ever not acknowledge what this guy has done for the most important sports personality of our generation is definitely Stephen A. If it wasn't for Skip Bayless, Stephen A would not have been able to ascend the way that he has. And he said that, a lot of different times. Okay. All right. I want to talk about Bronny James, because I've been steadfast in what I see in my evaluation. Was a lot of this manufactured? Of course it was. Would he have been drafted if he wasn't LeBron's son? No, he would not have. Should he still be in college? I think so. But with that said, does he have NBA talent? Yes, he does. And I'm tired of these networks. I'm tired of these shows putting his poor stats up on the screen and drawing a conclusion that the kid sucks. No, he's not ready to be an NBA player, but he has talent. The only chance that he has to be an NBA player is that of a lead guard, not a point guard. He might never be a point guard, but somebody who can be a defensive player and bring the ball up and initiate offense, make open shots. He can do that. It's going to take time, but it takes great coaching. His footwork is not good. His decision-making is not good. But Bronny James has talent. I think you kind of saw it tonight a little bit. Their offense in the summer league where he was running to the corner and standing in the corner? No, that's terrible. He should have the ball in his hand, bringing it past half court and initiating the offense, and then having movement like the Golden State Warriors have or the San Antonio Spurs. Not him passing the ball and standing in the corner. So I don't think the Lakers set him up for success. And yeah, he goes spend some time, a lot of time in the G League getting better, but I see the talent. Whether or not he'll make it, I don't know. That's going to depend upon multiple things, opportunities, and his hunger and his desire to play at that level. Because he's playing with the big boys now. He's playing with the sharks. All right? There's nothing but sharks in these waters. And he needs to understand that. And if he wants to swim with the sharks, then he's going to put that work in. And I think that's why the Lakers wanted Danny Hurley. Because Danny Hurley doesn't give a crap who his dad is. He don't care. Does not care one bit. JJ Redick knows who his daddy is. Because his daddy got him hired. Danny Hurley don't care. And I think that would have been a better scenario for him. But it is what it is. Right now, you need to help this young man. Help him. You made the investment in him. Help him. Get him the environment and the coaching that he needs to be successful. And I think he can make it. All right. As she says, you should be an NBA scout for the Golden State Warriors, bringing in young players that have so much born-given, God-given talent. Yeah, man, the Warriors are like Fort Knox, dude. Most people who work for the Warriors are either related to people in the building or they're former players. I mean, in any like integral role, they're either related to somebody internally or they're a former NBA player. Regular people generally don't get to do basketball stuff. And I don't think that organization is necessarily any different than anybody anywhere else. Thoughts on Daquan Prouton joining Pat Spencer and Reese Beekman on the Golden State Warriors on two-way contracts in the NBA. I'm happy for him, obviously. I think Beekman is real lucky. I think he's real lucky. I think the Warriors like his measurables. 6'3", he's going to be a solid, G League point guard, and maybe he'll develop into somebody who can be an NBA player. I like his measurables, but I'm happy for all those cats. I mean, now getting a G League contract, a two-way contract, man, that's good money. That's like you can make as much as $400,000. Spencer can play, and I'm happy for Daquan. Daquan's had a cup of coffee with a couple of teams, the New Orleans Pelicans and the Orlando Magic. I really wanted him to play well today, and he didn't shoot well today. So, but I'm happy that those guys have opportunities. I root for everybody, man. Steve O says, NFL, my main sport now. Fell off the NBA and other sports now that I'm older. Kwame was cooking when he first came out. He blocked me the other day because after a week, I said he was doing what? Oh, okay. What Steve A. Smith did to him. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was an interesting thing, man. I talked about that lane. I talked about lanes that people travel in. I was happy that Kwame matured, got older, got confident to the point where he could defend himself because he took a lot of abuse. I have a rule. You know what my rule is? There's no such thing as a 10-year NBA flop. They don't exist. And I think the people who criticize him or criticize anybody who has played 10 years in the NBA would take a step back and agree with me. I don't care where you were drafted. I don't care where you drafted at. There's no such thing as a 10-year NBA flop. There's people who don't reach their full potential. Okay, that's fine. But to call somebody a flop who's been paid 2, 3, 4 times, Come on now. Multiple organizations have had to write multiple contracts for you to sign? There's no such thing as a 10-year NBA flop, and I think people realize that. Thoughts on Saquon signing with Philadelphia? I think most people have seen the clip now with the New York Giants of the general manager looking like an amateur. Saquon Barkley is what the foundation of the Giants are built on. The Amani Toombs of the world, the Harry Carsons of the world. Are you kidding me? The Phil Simms of the world. And you're gonna let Saquon Barkley, this generation of that ilk, go down the street for another $1 million or $2 million because you're trying to lowball him? It makes you think that Mr. Mara and the general manager were not in sync. Mr. Mara is like, we can't lose this guy. Everybody loves him. He's the most popular player on our team. And the general manager's standing there with Dan Shaden, or I don't know what the other guy's name is. I know he looked like an amateur losing Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley, he's not going to try to get hurt. If he's healthy, he's going to crush it. I got a special place for the Giants because the senior Mr. Mara, William Mara, RIP, is an alumni of Fordham like I am. And he used to come to our basketball games when I played college basketball. And as a result, I got multiple tryouts with the New York Giants, free agent tryouts. When I was in college, you know, I was a basketball player, but I played football also. I got tryouts with the Giants because Mr. Murray used to come to the basketball games. Steve-O says, yep, 12-year career, not a bust. Nope. So all those years of abuse that Kwame was taking was undeserved. And I get the laughs and this and that. And I even felt the way about, JaVale McGee, because a lot of the stuff that TNT used to do, I thought was funny. And I had to take a step back. And I'm glad that he finally went to Stern and Silver and was like, yo, this is ruining my career. He stood up for himself. And at some point, he matured and became a valuable NBA player. Was he a 3-time champion at this point? 3-time champion. And he's a gold medalist and highly respected. But for a certain point in JaVale's career, because of some of these, it wasn't like people created these mishaps, but they put it together and they positioned him in a way that made people think that the guy couldn't play at all, and that certainly was not the case. But those clips are real, I'm happy that his career has evolved the way that it has. SG says, I have to give my condolences to Kobe Bryant's father, Joe Jellybean Bryant, who was a former NBA player who passed away at the age of 69. This was a very somber moment. He was on that Philadelphia 76ers 1983 championship team. I believe he was. So I've been aware of him for a long period of time. And I'm obviously saddened by the fact that he's no longer here. But I can say that about anybody. the relationship between he and Kobe and the family. That's families sometimes have their challenges, but that I don't know anything about it. But I wish that wasn't what comes to people's minds sometimes, because such a great family. I got to meet Barkley, and a bunch of celebrity at a bunch. Oh, I think you mean brunch. At a brunch at a celebrity golf this weekend. Awesome, yeah. Great story, Steve-O. Yeah. If any player was made to wear a Giant uniform, it was Saquon Barkley. The Giants basically did Saquon like the 49ers are doing Brandon AIYUK. The only difference is Brandon AIYUK is under contract. And the general manager, to his credit, told Saquon on the phone, listen, we've done the franchise thing before. We don't want to do it again. You're a free agent. Go get your money. And, you're going to give us a chance to match the salary, right? And Saquon was like, oh, yeah, of course I am. See ya. So this whole Brandon AIYUK thing, it bothers me, because first of all, I would never name anybody because I don't know, but professional sports teams always have people in the media who are there to promote their narrative. And people do it because you curry favors with the organizations. It's to your benefit. You get on television, maybe you get a gig. It's like players don't have that. Nobody in the media is championing the position of a player at that level. You out of your mind? Doesn't happen. So all of a sudden, I'm hearing, oh, Brandon AIYUK and his team, they've screwed this up. Really? They didn't screw anything up. They don't have a media machine behind them. If Brandon AIYUK was a free agent and not under contract, he would get the money that he wants. That's what I believe. Now you can argue and say, no, Red, you're wrong. That's fine. But I believe if Brandon AIYUK was a free agent, he could go out into the market and get a contract that is commensurate with what he has done in the past. I believe that. I believe that there's no good guys or bad guys in this negotiation. It's business. Some people might call it leverage, or you can call it dirty pool, not being fair. People keep throwing this number out. Brock Purdy is going to make $60 million. Why? Why does Brock Purdy have to make $60 million? Please explain that to me. Should he be paid like a top 10 quarterback? Hell yeah. What's the salary for that? 50 million? 60 million? Come on, man. We need to stop this. Shanahan is a brilliant offensive coordinator / head coach. I was thinking about this today as I was preparing for the show. Do you think Dak Prescott couldn't run Shanahan's offense? You think Matthew Stafford couldn't run this offense? Josh Allen? Jaden Hurts? What? Bryce Young? Are you kidding me? Brock Purdy is a good quarterback. Let's not take anything from him. He's a top 10 quarterback. But he's playing in the perfect system. That's my opinion. I don't think he has to make $60 million. I think you can squeeze off some money and give it to Brandon AIYUK based off what he's done. You gave Christian McCaffrey top dollar. Why does he have to be the top paid running back in all of football? Is he that much better than everybody else? No, he's not. You think Saquon Barkley couldn't come to the Bay and set it off here and be great? But again, players generally don't have the voice of the media. The organizations do. The only difference between Brandon AIYUK and Saquon Barkley is Saquon Barkley was given his rights to become a free agent. And the Giants said, you know what? We're not going to play this game and franchise you anymore. We did it once. You know, you came to camp. Go get your money. And he went and got his money. And there's this narrative out there that, well, Brandon AIYUK doesn't have any leverage. He had leverage. If Brandon AIYUK plays this year under the last year of his contract, he'll make $15 million. The 49ers could conceivably franchise him next year. I don't think they would do it. But he would have to, if he's franchised, his salary is the average of the top 5 salaries at his position in the NFL. What is that? $30 million. When you consider who didn't get signed this year, $30 million guaranteed. Now, it's not $60 million, and he has to go out and earn his money every year, but that's what Kirk Cousins did. His contract next year, if he came back as a 49er and they franchised him, is $30 million. That's leverage when you got to pay your quarterback $50 to $60 million. Tell the truth. Tell the whole story. That's my thing. I'm reading articles in newspapers, listening to national shows. Oh, he don't have leverage. Yeah, no, he does have leverage. His talent is his leverage. His professionalism is his leverage. You got a guaranteed $15 million this year. They franchise you next year. That's $45 million. And the 49ers are not going to franchise him next year. Can't see it. If they did, then I guess Debo's gone. But when you got $40 million, you got $30 million guaranteed, that's leverage to me. That's why Dak Prescott ain't tripping. He's like, hey, man, we'll get it done. I love the Cowboys. Steve-O says, New York Giants are desperate. Gave Jones $42 million. 49ers aren't a desperate team. Won't overpay like Vikes did. Okay, now, what is overpaying? It's very subjective, all right? You say overpay, the NFL has a rule that says if you are a top 5, no, the NFL says if you get franchised, then your salary is the average of the top 5 salaries at your position. It's subjective. Right, Steve-O? It's subjective. Thoughts on the Raiders trading Josh Jacobs to the Packers? They didn't trade him. I think he was a free agent. It was time for him to go. They were not on the same page. I'm happy that he got his bag in Green Bay. Totally different organizations, and I hope he crushes it. I think, I don't call the Raiders by their geographic name. I only say the Raiders. And everybody wants Antonio Pierce to be successful, but gosh, I mean, how many games the Raiders gonna win next year? 8 max? 8 games, if they're lucky. My man Keys, what's up? What's up, Frank? I believe the run is over. This is the time to trade Steph and Dre for a nice package of young players and first-round picks. We need a rebuild desperately. We barely have a playoff team. Wow. I disagree with you. They were able to get Jordan Poole late in the first round. They're going to be a mid first round team next year, because I think you're right. I think they'll probably be in the play-in, or maybe they'll win a series or two, but they'll probably pick somewhere between 15 and 21. Put your scouts to work. Why can't they win in the scouting game? Right? Why can't Giannis was drafted at 15th. Jordan Poole was drafted at 28th. Jelante Murray was drafted with the 27th, 29th pick. Derek White was drafted with the 29th pick. They didn't sign PJ Hall like I said they should. Denver signed him. Trey, I can't think of what's Trey's last name, the kid that went to Creighton, who's now on Denver as well. Really good player, 6'4". Definitely would have made the Warriors team. First round talent. If I know this stuff, then they should know it. No. Stephen Curry should finish his career as a Warrior and just grind it out. Do the Miami Heat thing. Pat Riley is not interested in being terrible. You think Joe Lacob wants to be terrible and look at a bunch of empty seats when he shows up? No, man. Bill's got to get paid. Bill's got to get paid. They're going to ride this thing until the wheels fall off. AIYUK can get $30 million on 12 other teams, not the Niners. Okay. I'm comfortable with that, Steve-O. What I'm not comfortable with is people in the media saying that he's not worth it. And he's like, well, no, he's not worth it. No, he is worth it. Before, he's not worth it to the 49ers, but he's worth it. And I think that's where a guy like Brandon AIYUK gets in his feelings, because he's like, wait a minute. Homeboy got what I want over there. His numbers are comparable to mine. Mine are even better. What do you mean I'm not worth it? But that's the narrative, the overriding narrative that's being projected in the media, because it's unbalanced. That's all I'm saying. I'm just saying that, let's acknowledge the big picture. And whether or not you, as a supporter of the team, a fan, a insider, whomever, decides if he's worth it or not, that's all good. We can debate that. We can have that conversation. But logic would suggest if he was a free agent, he could get the money that he wants. This guy's not a problem. He's a hard worker. He's a good teammate. Most organizations don't want to pay players because they don't trust them, not because they're not worth it. They don't trust them. I've never heard anybody say, I don't trust Brandon AIYUK. I've never heard that. I've never heard that. The whole Brandon AIYUK drama reminds me of a reality TV show full of controversy. Dak had bad decision making in the clutch. I'm not going to disagree with you, but I don't think he was coached well either, and I'm going to tell you why. I don't know if it wasn't last year because the 49ers, maybe it was, I don't remember. Either because the 49ers beat Dallas 2 straight years. I think it was not last year, but the year before last. If I'm Mike McCarthy, right? It was I think it was last year because it was in San Francisco. I don't remember, but I remember the sequence. The Dallas Cowboys were in great shape. At the very least, they had a field goal against the 49ers. Pretty easy field goal. Dak throws the interception, I believe. Now, the person who I've learned the most about football from is Bill Parcells. If Phil Simms had have thrown that football in that field position, Bill Parcells would have done something real bad to him. If I'm the head coach and I understand time and sequence, Dak's not throwing that ball. I'm not giving Dak Prescott the authority to use an audible to throw an out and get intercepted. I'm not doing that. That's coaching. That is coaching. So you want to blame Dak? Blame Dak. It's not Dak's fault, totally. Was it a bad decision? Absolutely. But it's coaching. The great coaches in the history of sports have always helped their players be successful. And great players have helped their coaches be successful. It's a symbiotic relationship. Fans pick sides. I watch the games. I know football. I'll wait for your response. Cousins, the franchise king. Yeah. Made a lot of money, didn't he? Yeah, Trey Alexander is his name. Trey Alexander, he didn't have a great Big East tournament, didn't play great in the NC2A, but if you watch Trey Alexander throughout the season last year like I did, everybody thought he was a top 25 pick. Now, his shot is a little tricky, but this dude is a combo guard. This dude, he's already got a 2-way contract. I think he would have made the Warriors team. Trey Alexander is a baller. Didn't even get drafted. Do your homework. What is this play and tournament thing during the season? Like European soccer. It's a mid-season tournament. They had it last year. Surprised you don't know about it, Steve-O, but I guess you don't watch a lot of basketball now. You said football is your thing. Yeah, it's just kind of a mini tournament to sell another package. I think Apple bought it or some other streaming entity, maybe Amazon Prime or whatever. There's a core number of games early in the regular season that count towards your record for this in-season tournament. It culminates with 2 teams playing for the championship in a weekend in Vegas, or maybe another network that they can sell, hotels, betting. It's a moneymaker. It was very successful last year. The Lakers won it last year. That's what I'm talking about, Steve-O. I don't know if you're talking about something different. I'm not quite sure. All right. Caitlin Clark. She sets the record today in a loss. 101-93. The Indiana Fever lost to the Dallas Wings. But Caitlin Clark is on fire right now. 19 assists, 24 points. You can't give up 101 points and win a basketball game most of the time. But damn if it wasn't entertaining. 24 and 19? Anybody who said this young lady was not going to be successful, your statement's not going to, it's not going to live well, age well. That's the point I'm making. Yeah, it's not going to age well. And from Caitlin's perspective, if ever there was like this, you know, I'm not going to call her prima donna. I'm not going to say that. But I think that there was some privilege that she had. And why wouldn't she have it, being the star that she was in college basketball? She walked into the WNBA, I think, expecting to have some of that privilege. And the young ladies were like, no, you don't have any privilege here. You got to earn it again. Are you helping us make money? Yes, you are. But we're on the court now. You got to earn it. 26 games into the season, she's earned everything. She's changed the shape of the WNBA. Among other good players, she's a top 5 point guard right now, maybe top 3. I was thinking about that today. I was like, well, who's the best point guard in the league? To me, it's Sabrina Ionescu. You know? That's my favorite point guard. Chelsea Gray is right there. And then I put Caitlin after that. Even though Skylar Diggs is having a great season. But she's definitely top 5. Awesome game. Have you watched any new movies lately? I was out of touch last weekend. That's why I talked about the girl with the dragon tattoo. I'm going to go to the movies this weekend, so I'll have something to say probably on Sunday night about something that I've seen. I want to talk about USA basketball. I'm concerned. And I think Kerr finally today started to map out who's going to play on that team for the men when it matters. I think Anthony Davis, Bam Adebayo, LeBron James, Stephen Curry, Anthony Edwards, Devin, Drew Holiday, Joel Embiid is not going to play a whole lot. Not against the really, maybe against France because he can get those guys in foul trouble, but his defense is atrocious. It's just god awful. Awful. When USA put their defensive lineup out there with Stephen Curry, it was lights out. It was lights out. Now, Stephen Curry looked amazing at 36. He was awesome today. I'm like, yo, Steph, save some for the regular season, bro. Aja. Aja Wilson. Listen, to me, my 2 favorite players in the history of women's basketball are Lisa Leslie and Maya Moore. Those are my 2 favorite players. Aja Wilson, when it's all over, might be the greatest women's player of all time. There's never been a front court player as skilled as her. I look at Maya Moore as more of a wing. Asia Wilson she's a 3-4, 5. She's awesome. There's never been anybody like her. What a player. Beautiful, elegant, smart, fierce, talented, winner. Yeah. Speaking of women, I also want to big up Lindsey Harding, the coach of the year of the Stockton Kings. She was assistant on the Sacramento Kings up until a couple of days ago, and over the past 3 or 4 years. She's going to be on J.J. Redick's staff down in Los Angeles for the Lakers. I think it's a great hire. Lindsey Harding was a #1 overall pick. Beautiful woman, and a hell of a baller, and a hell of a coach. So I'm happy that she's getting the opportunity that she deserves, and I think that her communication skills has to be worth a game or two to the Lakers. So I mean, bravo. And I mean, from the Kings' perspective, I'm like, how can you afford to lose somebody like that? How can you, she knows all your calls. She knows all your plays. Might be the difference of the Lakers being the 5th seed as opposed to the 6th seed. I'm puzzled by that. Can I join you on Sunday night? Well, you haven't said anything that was ridiculous tonight, so maybe. You're not allowed to say things that kill the flow of the show. So, we'll talk. Don't call me. Please don't call me. Just send me a text or email, and I'll communicate with you. I agree. Embiid not looking better than Bam or Davis, but I heard Kerr say he still is a starter. Does he not see what we are seeing? Kerr's a bit of a politician, and rightfully so. Politicians, a lot of them are really good communicators. So I don't think that he wants to give the rest of the world an opportunity to prepare for Joel not being the starter. We know who's going to play when it matters because we know basketball. And we've seen that the best team that they can put out there includes Anthony Davis and Bam Adebayo on the interior, playing defense with LeBron James, Stephen Curry, Anthony Edwards, Devin, and we assume Kevin Durant at some point. But, I mean, they might even be factoring in that Kevin Durant's not even going to play. We don't know. He hasn't played yet. Jimmy says, speaking of women, did anyone see Angel Reese at NBA Summer League? I did. She got it going on. Good for her, man. Good for her. I mean, she got a brand, and I'm happy for her. She's proved a lot of people wrong. I think that she can offer more sugar without compromising herself. I think she's understanding that because it's about the bag. Somebody as good as she is, as impactful in the landscape of women's sports as she is, needs to get paid. All right? And there's nothing wrong with playing the game a little bit. You don't have to be a villain. And I think some people perceive her as such. I don't. She's beautiful. She's good. Shadal franchise tag. What's up, Ron? How you doing? Thanks for stepping in. Steve-O says, just don't sing that. Oh my God. Was that amazing? Wow. And hey, listen, I'm not going to make fun of somebody who has potentially a illness, a drinking issue. I mean, she's going to rehab, so that would suggest that she has some problems. But the audacity, and even just like people who hired this young lady to sing in that was worse than Roseanne Barr. Some might argue that Roseanne Barr is just a terrible singer. This God bless some of those baseball players. If that was me out there, I would have been laughing my ass off. There's no way that I could have held it. No way. I'm gonna give you guys a funny story. I think I'm a sophomore at Fordham, right? And we're playing Fairfield University. And I'm gonna leave the names out. I'm not gonna mention anybody's name. But my coach was Tom Penders. Tom Penders is in the College Basketball Hall of Fame. Tom Penders, I think he won 649 games, close to 700 games. Great coach. Taught me a lot about basketball, a lot about life, and he was probably the closest thing that I ever had to a father figure. And that actually inhibited my growth as a basketball player because he had to spend a lot of time teaching me life lessons as opposed to teaching exclusively basketball skills. I would have been a better player. But I'll never forget how he took the time that was necessary to prepare me for life. And that's why Coach Penders and I are still in contact to this day. I love the guy. A lot of players don't love their coaches. We had our battles, but I love the guy because as a man, I understand what he was doing. And I played as hard as I could for him. All right. Big time baseball guy too. History in baseball, was on the path to making the major leagues, played at the University of UConn, starting point guard. Tom Penders is that guy. Look him up. All right. Resurrected the University of Texas program, went to multiple NC2As, took Rhode Island to the NC2A tournament, took Houston, took George Washington. A hell of a coach. And a lot of what I've learned about basketball, I learned playing for Tom Penders. All right, back to the story. We're up 2 points, right? Fairfield has the ball. And Penders is like, listen, don't go for any steals. Contest the shot, get the rebound, and get your asses in the locker room. Okay, coach. Got it. We had a player who was not one of the quickest guys on our team. Goes for the steal. Doesn't get it. The guy makes a three-pointer at the buzzer. We're down 1 at halftime. The crowd goes crazy. We're like, holy you know what. So and I'm thinking about, the context is the baseball players listening to this horrible rendition of national anthem. How the hell they held it in, I don't know. So Penders comes in the locker room. And back in the day, they would have like buckets of like oranges. Halftime, you eat some oranges. So Penders comes in, he takes off his sport jacket, puts it over his shoulder, gets a little orange. He's eating an orange, and he starts like kicking the bottom of his shoe against the wall, like there's like dirt on it. Ain't no dirt around here. But he's just kind of kicking it. And he goes, such and such. I could see if you went for a steal, you probably would get it. But he goes to the guy who missed the steal. He goes, such and such. You couldn't steal a ball from Stevie Wonder. Everybody on the team is quiet as hell except me. I had to laugh. I thought it was hilarious. That would have been me at the baseball game. I think that's why he loved me, because I was just like, man, that's funny. I had to laugh. We won the game, by the way. But coaches are funny, man. Some coaches, Penders was funny as hell. He goes, of all the players, you couldn't steal a ball from Stevie Wonder. I was dying. Jimmy, I just saw a picture on Twitter of what 2028 men's Olympic team could look like. Crazy to think about that. I don't know who the players are, but I think we'll be okay. Ingrid Andres says she was drunk. Yeah, I don't buy that. I personally don't buy that. I mean, am I gonna rape her? Rake her over the coals? No, I'm not. But that's embarrassing. It's disrespectful. If you have a drinking problem, I would think that you would have people to help you. You have like 19 assistants saying, I don't know if you can do it. They always got backup singers. They got backups. After a widely panned performance, home run derby. Yeah, I know. AB, what's up? Evening, Frank. I agree that Laurie isn't the right guy for the Warriors, but they seem desperate. Who do you think their backup plan if they give up on pursuit? I think they're good. I actually liked what's his face? I saw him, the former Duke kid. I don't know if they have room for him now. Marquise. I mean, you got Looney, you got Trace Jackson. I want Trace Jackson Davis playing 30 minutes a game, and Looney playing 18 to 20. The Warriors' issue is they can't lose anybody. But Draymond plays center. I don't want Laurie marketing unless if it's 2 first-round picks and no players. I mean, I don't want the guy. I'm gonna tell you why I don't want him. Because the Warriors just got themselves in pretty good financial shape. Unless they think he's just like some great talent that I haven't seen. Dude is not a high-level defender and rebounder. No. I want big guys who can rebound. And you might go with Red. That's not the Warriors' offense. Listen, the game is changing. The Warriors have a hard time running that perimeter-oriented offense in the playoffs. We've seen over the past couple of years. They need guys to make open shots. If Klay Thompson goes 5 for 10 as opposed to 0 for 10 last year against Sacramento, the Warriors win. If Klay Thompson can make a shot 2 years ago against the Lakers, they win. Lauri Markkanen ain't, no. If he's playing for Utah and he's killing it, 25 and 10 rebounds a game, and they still want to get rid of him, okay. Let's revisit it, but not right now. I give Joe Lacob a lot of credit. Joe Lacob does not allow his executives to make terrible decisions. He doesn't do that. I respect it. So the plan B is Looney, shake off the cobwebs, play your ass off. Trace Jackson Davis, we need you, bro. We need you to play. Draymond, hopefully you can play a little center late in games. I'm interested in seeing the progress of Jonathan Kuminga. I think Jonathan Kuminga should be averaging 18 and 20 points a game this year. That's your number 2 scorer. Now, I had to laugh at myself for a second because you guys know that I haven't been, from going back to last year, I haven't been the biggest Podge fan. At this point, forget about his basketball talent. I love what's coming out of the kid's mouth. He's become a leader, a organizational piece. I don't want the Warriors to trade him. I don't. Do I think he's ready to be the primary ball handler? No, I don't. But I like what he brings to the team spiritually. I think that he is starting to understand humility. I do. I believe it. I don't think it's an act. So I don't want him traded either. Let Danny Ainge try to fleece somebody else. Frank, you are such a hilarious man with a great sense of humor. I can be funny. I think if I tried to be funny, I don't know if it would work, but I've had some funny stuff happen in my life. You couldn't steal a ball from Stevie Wonder. Just imagine Stevie Wonder. Who could steal a ball from Stevie? You got to be slow. You can't steal a ball from Stevie Wonder. Come on, man. Sibo says, I've seen you on Krug's show a few times. You said you were number 1 for 10 years or something. Yeah. Can you give me your background? Because I know zilch. Okay. I used to be a salesman, and I love sports. I was an outside salesman. Sacramento was part of my territory. I walk into a radio station and, I'm green, I'm young, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I walk into, not KHGK, it was KMJI. And I go to the front desk and I say, yeah, can I talk to the program director? This young blonde lady looks at me and goes, yeah, just wait, I'll go get him now. So the program director comes out. They were bare bones. The station would ultimately be sold in 3 or 4 months. The program director comes out, shakes my hand. He goes, yeah, come back, I'll talk to you. This is weird in and of itself. As it turns out, he thought that I was a professional athlete because I'm 6'7", 270 pounds. I got a nice suit on, I guess you couldn't see very well. So I go into his office and I talk to him about what I wanted to do. I love sports and all this other stuff. Tony Cox, my man, gave me my first job. So after I finished my spiel, check this out. This is during the era of tapes. Tony Cox opens up his desk. Well, no, that's not true. I'm sorry. This is on a Friday, right? This is on a Friday. I had my tape with me because I was doing some stuff at another station. He goes, I listened to your tape over the weekend. don't you come back on Monday and I'll tell you what I think. Okay, so I go back on Monday. I'm in his office. Tony Cox opens up his desk drawer, and I'm literally, there's like 50 or 60 tapes. He holds my tape in his finger like this. He goes, you know what, Frank? He goes, there's a lot of talent in all of these tapes here. But he says, nobody has what you have on your tape. Wow! It was like asking Halle Berry to the movies and having her say yes. That's how I felt. I could not believe it. He goes, nobody has on their tape what you had. But I can't hire you. I don't have any money. Womp. Whatever euphoria, exhilaration that I felt just crashed down. But I remembered, he said, nobody, he goes, what you have on your tape is incredible. It was a combination. Now, like I said, I was working for, I had a friend who worked at a radio station that used to hook me up, and I went to places. On my demo tape, I had Dusty Baker on my demo tape. I interviewed Dusty Baker. That's another story. I had Dusty Baker and Tyrone Willingham as my interviews on my demo tape. I had a badass demo tape, but still. So I said, okay, thank you. What I did was I went around Sacramento and I sold airtime to my potential show to a soul food restaurant. Yes. I came back and said, I got a sponsor for my show. They said, you got a sponsor for your show? We'll put you on. I'd never forget this woman. She took money out of her pocket to sponsor my show. I had never been on air before. It was incredible. Once I got on air, they were like, Frank, you good, man. You don't have to do this. We got salespeople to sell your show. And that was it. I didn't have to do anything else. But I had to initially get the funds for my show, and I sold it myself because I was a salesman. After the station got sold, they went dark. Luckily, the power station in Sacramento, the King station, KHCK, they call it Hot Talk now, with Sports 1140. The program director, Mike Ramey, had heard me on air. And when I called him and said, yo, I'm such and such, he's like, oh, yeah. I mean, we know who you are. Come in and talk. He gave me a show, a Sunday night show for 2 hours. I was jacked. I had no experience. Didn't really, I'm just figuring it out. I didn't get paid. I didn't make a dime. I did not care. I had credentials. I went to any games that I wanted to. I did whatever. And I did whatever I wanted to do. I built a show. That's the best producer. That's the best program director in the world. The ones that just leave you alone, let you do what you do. Because that's how you get better. And, first year or so, it was, but they knew something was happening. And all of a sudden, this show that I hosted became, it became a thing. And I think it was well respected, it was well received, and it was #1 for over 10 years. So that's my history, that's my legacy. I have not gotten a job since then. Now, I haven't really pushed and begged. I need a job, please hire me. No, it's not who I am. I have other sources of income. I'm good. But if I did a show, it would be number one. If I did a commercial radio, I have no doubt it'd be number one. Because this show that we're doing right now is totally unique. Totally unique. And I'm just getting started. I'm on episode number, what is this, 96? I haven't had any guests on my show. Any guest on my show. I got access to a lot of people, but I said, no, I'm not having any guests on my show until I get these numbers up. How many people do you know that can do a YouTube show like I'm doing for an hour and 41 minutes to 2 hours alone and just talk? Who else is doing that? Ain't nobody doing that. Got 19 guests. You know what I got? This is what I got, y'all. I got my knowledge. I got my preparation. That's what I got. And you know what I do? I do it for y'all. I love to do it, and I respect you so much that I'm always prepared. I'm always prepared. There's nobody can say, yo, Red ain't prepared. No, I am always prepared. You know why? Because if somebody else wants to do this and I can impact somebody, that's what I want you to do. I want you to put that work in. Put the work in. Krug talks to himself in his sleep, but it's a niche going solo. Listen, Larry Krueger, to me, is the best at what he does. This guy has almost 50,000 subscribers. Now he got kind of a machine that helps him out, but this dude works his ass off. He's really talented. You know, he and I have been friends for a long time. I'm so proud of him because he can do both. He can talk. He can just talk by himself, or he can have guests. He's a great kind of navigator of shows. I can't wait to get into that because there's a lot of people that I want to have on air, but I don't want to have people on air until we warm it up a little bit. 100 shows later, it takes some time. It takes some work. But I can do this, man. Really can. You know, I'm excited about the future. I can't believe that I'm on the cusp of doing 100 shows. That's a lot. Most people, when they have crickets, their first 10, 20, 30 shows, it's a wrap. They stop it. Because it's not passion. This is passion. Steve says, just easier to relate knowing someone, but Googling Big Red, I only get, no, it's not Big Red, it's Frank Red. It's Frank Red. You see right here? Not Big Frank Red. If you just write Frank Red in the Dungeon Show as it is, I'm going to come up. You know? Key says, great story. Appreciate you, bro. AB, great story. Jimmy says, thanks, great show. Hit like a button, everyone. Yeah, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, well, thank you for listening. I got a lot of stories. Been doing it for a long time. And the fact that people are interested is even better. All right. So hopefully you guys have been listening long enough to get my take on Skip Bayless, what I think that he's brought to the industry. And for people who want to dance on his grave, to me, are really missing the boat, because without him, a lot of people who you admire in this industry would have never gotten off the ground if it wasn't for Skip Bayless. Because he put people on. I also saw a video today of Dan Le Batard's show. He was talking to Stu Gatz about the business of, sports talk programming online. And, this is a real business guy. He not only is talking, but they're running a business. And they got major sponsors, millions of dollars. And the essence of what Dan Le Batard was talking about was the fact that he's doing a show and making sure that everybody eats within his community, within his group. He goes, everybody's eating. I love that, because for decades there was no money in it. The networks kept all the money. Now they know that there's a lot of money in it. And if everybody's eating, everybody's respected for their talent, the shows are going to be better. And that's good for the listeners. One of the things I wanted to ask, and you guys can let me know, have you ever listened to this show while you're driving? And if so, what is that experience like? Because I assume that you can pull it up. If you subscribe, you can pull it up on the internet and listen to it in the car. Has anybody ever listened to this show, my show, while you're driving? And if you haven't, if you're on the road or you get a notification, try listening to it in your car to let me know how it sounds. I watch McAfee. McAfee is the king of getting bread. If you like McAfee, then that's your deal, man. He's found a way to do an original show and get paid for it. He makes more money than anybody. Dan Le Batard was talking about Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning is just like Walt Disney or somebody. Apparently, since he has been doing like original programming in conjunction with ESPN and some of these other entities, dude's made over $700 million. That's why Stephen A is like, you don't want to pay me $25 million a year when I'm raking money in for ESPN? I think Stephen A's art is not only like First Take, but late night talk show hosts. On networks and stuff. That's what when you're producing the shows yourself, you're getting that cut. Jimmy Kimmel type stuff, when you're getting a piece of that, even if you're getting a piece, you pay 1,000 times over. So this has been fun for me. Hopefully you have enjoyed it. Today's Wednesday. I'm gonna definitely be on Sunday. Maybe if there's something that's so intriguing that entails for me to come on, then maybe I will. But I'm definitely gonna do a show on Sunday night. All right. Stephen A. Smith, okay, but yelling into the mic, not my thing. Oh yeah, it's cool. SG said, I listen to your show in the car. Oh, really? Okay, how's it sound? Steve-O said, this is only my second solo watching of you. What do you think? How do you like the show? You guys don't comment. I get very few comments. If it's good comments or bad or whatever, I don't really care. I mean, I care, but whether or not if it's positive or it's negative, it's information. All right? So leave a comment. You guys are getting pretty good at hitting the like button. It helps. It definitely helps. Hopefully you're subscribing to the show. Spread the word. Right? You watch Receiver. What is that? I think I've heard about it, but I haven't watched it. What is it? Let me know. Anybody watch Receiver? Oh, is that the new Netflix show about receivers? Yeah, I haven't checked that out yet, but I'll get on it. All right, I'm gonna do my thing, get out of here, y'all. Success in getting paid is a manifestation of the whole process. If you're the individual, don't do things to help other people make their lives better. As far as I'm concerned, you haven't done nothing, all right? My name is Frank Red. I want to thank you for checking out the In the Dungeon show. Hit the like button. It really helps me and helps the show. Subscribe to the channel, In the Dungeon show, and follow me on X as well, all right? One last thing from Man Keys. Thanks, Frank. Great show. Talk to you Sunday. All right. Good night, everybody. Peace.